President Biden delivered remarks at the Philadelphia Shipyard Thursday on the many ways he says his administration is delivering on its economic plan. The president touched on clean energy and continuing to create products made in America during his speech. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us now from the White House. Ed, good to see you. Thanks for being here. So we've seen the president go out and tout what his administration sees as accomplishments and things they have done to help the economy. But behind the scenes, where do things stand with his reelection campaign? Does he have much of a campaign at this point?
It is beginning to build out, Caitlin. Good to see you. This week, they hired 3 more people that will be responsible for helping raise all the money that's necessary. They believe they'll have to spend north of $1 billion to get him reelected. They also announced plans to open a reelection headquarters in his hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, much to the chagrin, privately and even to some extent publicly, of some of those who may eventually have to work out of those offices, who were rooting for somewhere here in the D.C. area or perhaps Philadelphia, which at least has more dining options. But beyond that, they're essentially monitoring from the sidelines what continues to go on the Republican side and marveling at the fact that certain lawmakers and candidates say or do certain things that they then quickly exploit. I think this week the best example of that was Marjorie Taylor Greene calling out some of the work that the president had done and comparing him to FDR and LBJ in terms of the expanse of the work they're trying to do in the social program space, especially. The Biden campaign took that, popped it right onto Twitter as if she was narrating his accomplishments to those that were watching it, and it's proven to be a very popular and lucrative piece of social media for the campaign, essentially using her words against her and the Republican Party. The event today in Philadelphia, he's made more than a dozen visits there as president. This time it was to the shipyard. They're building a ship that's going to transport parts for wind farms out into the ocean, and it's being built there at a shipyard with, of course, union workers. So the president eager to say that kind of work is being done because of what we've passed. It's creating jobs, and it's going to lead to, ultimately, he hopes, at least a better climate. So these kinds of official events that allow him to tweak and irk Republicans from behind the trappings of the presidency are the kinds of events you'll continue to see no matter what the Republicans are up to.
Ed, I know you and I have both spent a lot of time in Wilmington and have exhausted most of those restaurant options, though they are very good. So they are very good. I want to ask about Vice President Kamala Harris, because having spent some time with Republicans, a lot of the candidates, invoke her, saying, especially Nikki Haley does this a lot, saying that if you vote for Biden, you're essentially voting for President Kamala Harris. So they're trying to use her as kind of a punching bag or a weapon of sorts. But I'm curious how the Biden campaign may be deploying her. I know she was in Indianapolis today. What did she say there? And are they seeing her as someone who can bring in new voters or at least keep some voters for Democrats?
Let's make sure to allow people to see what she had to say. Starting a series of visits to major national conferences of sororities, civil rights organizations, gun control groups, making a stop today in Indianapolis to knock Florida's new education standards and specifically how they're going to be teaching slavery to middle schoolers. Take a listen.
Extremists pass book bans to prevent them from learning our true history. Just yesterday in the state of Florida, they decided middle school students will be taught that enslaved people benefited from slavery. They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
Florida has tweaked its laws under Governor DeSantis to change the way that issues of race are talked about in schools. She called it out there, criticizing the Florida Republican government for doing so. Again, using the trappings of the official office to make some political points. She's going to be doing that over and over again over the next several weeks at these conferences to boost her numbers, boost awareness of her, and use the vice presidency as the attack dog position it's traditionally been known for.
Yeah, and we're seeing the administration or the Biden campaign start to try to define their potential opponents as well with DeSantis there. Ed O'Keefe, thank you very much for your reporting at the White House.